Thanks for checking out this movie review video. So this is for the 2020 film The Strings. It's a Shudder original film and it's coming to Shudder on Tuesday, November 23rd. So because this review is coming out before it comes out on Shudder and it's just a new film, there will be no spoilers. I don't even know how much of a synopsis I can even give on this because well, I'll talk about that. Anyway, I do need to preface this review by saying every film is worth watching at least once just to figure out how you personally feel about that individual film. Now, that said, you are here for my personal opinion on it, so I will tell you up front, but I'll get more into the good and the bad of the film. I did not like this film. I really did not like this film, and like I said, I will go into it. But there are good things about it. Directed by Ryan Glover, who also directed the film Hills Green. Also written by Glover and Krista, I'll do the best I can on this last name, Dzialoszynski, I think, maybe. My apologies. Who also wrote script for Hills Green, so they've worked together before. To reiterate, coming Tuesday, November 23rd. Now, quick synopsis. I don't want to give away too much because not a lot happens in the film, so giving any sort of intriguing anything about it would kind of be giving a bunch away. So, yeah. But basically about a musical artist who you assume is kind of like, fledgling artist trying to find her footing, who goes away to a abandoned, well, not abandoned, an old old family cottage in the winter and is pretty much isolated and trying to kind of spend that time, being creative and working on themselves. And then some stuff happens, not a whole lot of stuff. In my opinion, way too little stuff happens. And this is definitely one of those films that I harp on about. This is stretched for runtime. This is insanely stretched for runtime. Please, 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 filmmakers, take a note from the filmmakers who made Host. They put out a film that was 58 minutes long because it only needed to be 58 minutes long. This film is a little over an hour and a half, and it is a 20-minute film. It is a 20-minute film. I am not kidding. So it really is egregious to take something like this and stretch it past an hour and a half. Not a lot past an hour and a half, but slightly past an hour and a half. I mean, it's tough. Now, that said, I'm not going to be 100% negative on this because there are some nice things about this film. Two things in particular that I really did like. The first thing being the cinematography. Cinematography looks very good. Visually, it looks very good. Good directing, good cinematography. Glover knows what he's doing. The lead actress, Tegan Johnston, also did the music for this film. Now, her acting isn't terrible, but it isn't great. But her music, very interesting. Really enjoyed the music. The score is wonderful for this film. And the only reason I'm going to give it a slight bump up in rating is because I really enjoy the music in this. So Tegan Johnston, I mean, I would hope from this film you go on to get way more jobs creating scores for films or just being a musical artist, like becoming a bigger musical artist, because your stuff was excellent. I really did enjoy it. Anyway, delving a little bit into the film. Very intriguing opening image that's accompanied by eerie noises and music and beautifully drab settings. So the very beginning had me very hopeful. I was like, this is an interesting setup before the title screen. Very, very interested in it. Gave you a lot of questions that become raised in your mind. They're just like, I would like these questions to be answered. How did we get here? What is going on here? And then after that, it just goes to being this like very slow paced plotting film that's not showing you much or giving you much until the very, very end. And then by the time you get to the very end, do you even care anymore? And for me personally, I did not. I was over it. It didn't give me enough. This is truly one of those films where I feel like I wasted my time. But I guess it's not really wasted time because I'm able to tell other people exactly how it is and maybe I can save some people some time. But like I said, every film's worth seeing just to decide how you feel about it personally. And I know there probably will be people who really enjoy this film. And that's good. That should be the case. There should be people who enjoy every single film that's put out there because it's art. It's someone's vision and there are good things about everyone's vision. unless you're Glenn Danzig, because Veronica is, yeah. This film's better than Veronica, I'll say that. But it does kind of fall in the vein of some of the other Shudder originals they've had this year, like An Unquiet Grave and Bleed With Me, although I think both of those are better than this film in a lot of ways. There's still films that I did not enjoy. They fall into this category of just like not much is happening, just like these stretched out films that maybe didn't even have a script, and it was just kind of like, we'll just figure it out as we go, because that's the biggest issue with this film. The script is awful, in my opinion, just awful. It's a really bad script, and I would be interested to know how many pages it was anyway, because there's not a lot of dialogue to it. There's not a lot going on. It just seems to just like follow this person around with not a whole lot happening. But, I'll end up bringing that up again. But I do want to reiterate, Tegan Johnston, wonderful music. That is why I like this film. Or I don't overall like the film. That's what I liked about the film mainly. Plus the look. Like I said, visually Ryan Glover did a nice job. Everything is very drab and dull, but the shots are very well framed, which gives it a really nice sense of style. It does look very stylish. It looks very nice, and for that reason, I would love to see Ryan Glover go on to direct something else. Something that someone else has written. Get a really good script and direct that, and I think Ryan Glover could make a very excellent film. I really do. And I would hope that if he does that, he works with Tegan Johnston again on the music. There's a lot of walking and standing around, which is very unnecessary. I really don't need to watch someone go around a house doing chores. Literally, there are segments of just that going on, and there's no real point to it. This is the time wasting I'm talking about. It should be edited out of the film. Like I said, this film is a little over an hour and a half. It is a 20-minute film at best. It drives me crazy, man. It drives me crazy. There is a lot of time with no music, which I am all for. I'm totally good with that. But it's in the moments where there's actually something going on in the film where the audience is better to be left to their own devices to kind of struggle in their mind and figure out how they feel about what's going on. The problem is with this, there are these large stints of nothing going, no noise, no music, except, the sound design of someone moving around a house. But there's nothing happening. So, like, give me something at this point. Like, at least give me some music to listen to like, give me a mood, an atmosphere, whatever. Just not having any music at all while someone just, like, walks around and does chores. You're not doing anything for anyone. You're really not doing anything for anyone. There's a conversation between characters about 20 minutes into the film that is hard to get through, which speaks to one of the problems where the dialogue is actually not very well written. This goes back to what I'm saying is that the script in general is very poor. It needed a lot of revisions. I'm going to be honest and just say that I think they needed a whole new concept. Like, this concept didn't even work. I don't even understand what the point was of it. Like, I understand where the film goes and the events of the film, but it just seems like it was a vague idea that was never fleshed out at all. Like, you gotta do something else. You can't just be like, I have an idea, let's make a film based off that idea. You need to take the time to develop it, and obviously there were 2 people involved with this. I don't know why. You need time to develop it, to, have some other people hear the idea, write it out, have other people read it, edit the script, go over it. It really just feels like it was one half-baked idea that wasn't fleshed out at all, that they were just like, we're just going to do it. No. Would you like to just sit around and watch someone make music that they then just lay around and have be their soundtrack to them laying around? No? Me neither. That's another thing that happens in this film. Literally, I'm telling you, nothing happens in this film for the most part. You get like 2 moments in the film, other than the very beginning that I talked about that was a really cool setup and totally wasted. You do get 2 moments where something kind of interesting happens, and one of them comes at 53 minutes into the film, so that should tell you how slow and boring this film gets. And it is kind of interesting. I was like, okay, maybe we're going to pick up the pace right here. Maybe we're going to start like really getting going and seeing some things and having a big finish. And then it significantly backs off from that. You get something kind of interesting, then it backs off, and it's like, aha, you thought you were going to get something good. Gotcha. You're not. And then they do something at the very, very end that actually could have had some impact, but the groundwork was not laid there for people to even care at that point. And at that point, I was just more happy that the film was over. That's it. Like, I could not have cared about the ending, because when you make someone wait for an ending that has a little bit of payoff, but they had to wade through almost an hour and a half of nothingness for the most part, except good music and like good visuals, it's not enough. It's just not enough. And I don't understand why Shudder keeps picking these types of films up. Like I said, Unquiet Grave, Bleed With Me, like they're in the same vein. I think that they've gotten in this thing where they started releasing one Shudder exclusive or original once, every single week, and they feel like they have to do it, so they're just like grabbing some stuff that's not the best. I know I'm sounding very negative about this, and I apologize, because I don't want to be super negative, especially for films like this that are like no budget films, because you can tell that. And that's why I make sure that I say good things about it at the same time. But the script is just so bad, and the script is the foundation of any film, and it's got to be there. I mean, even a little bit, it has got to be there. This definitely needed to be edited down. Like I said, pacing is really bad. I wonder how many pages the script was. Yeah, a lot of it. The dialogue in particular seems really pointless. The conversations that characters have are just like, why are we listening to these characters talk about this? You get a little bit of information about something that matters or is kind of interesting here and there, but for the most part, it's just like, it's drivel. It's like mindless drivel. Is this film about the horrors of being bored? That's what I wonder. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I think this actually could be a bit of a take on the horrors of like boredom, of like being trapped by yourself in isolation. And for that, or for that reason, I do think that this film potentially was conceived of during, pandemic quarantine times, because you could kind of feel that in what was coming through the script. Is that it was about isolation, and it was about being bored, and about nothing going on, and just like how you feel when you're just by yourself and it's just you. Like, but it's not executed well at all. So like, that's not a bad concept about like the horrors of being bored or just being trapped by yourself or being isolated or whatever. That's a good concept. It's just you have to execute it in a way that entertains people. Like, literally, films are for entertainment, and I personally find very little entertainment in this film. I would recommend putting this film on in the background if you're kind of like doing things in the house, because personally, I don't need to watch this film, but listening to it, I did enjoy listening to it, because, like I said, Tegan Johnston's music was very good, very interesting, and I would like to see her get more work in that realm. She could work on her acting and try to become an actress, but I think, focus on the music. You have a talent there for sure. Just like Ryan Glover has definitely a talent for directing and cinematography. Keep working on that, but just find some better scripts, or work some better scripts out yourself. That's all. But out of 5 stars with half stars in play, I'm giving this a 1-star rating. I would have gone lower if the music wasn't so good, unfortunately, but those are the breaks, man. It happens. Anyway, if you do end up watching this film, I would love to hear your opinions, especially if you disagree with me, because there are definitely those people out there who will see something in this film that I did not, and maybe you can enlighten me on that. Maybe you can say, hey, I think you really missed this point, or you missed this very interesting aspect of the film if you really think about it. So go ahead, put those comments down there, or do you agree with me? You can talk about those as well. That's fine. Do me a quick favor, though. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. That is your way to repay me. It is quick, painless, costs you $0, and legitimately, it motivates me to keep this going, because I'm not getting paid to do this or anything. I'm not monetized as a channel or anything like that, even though I think they do have the ability to put ads on my channel. I don't get anything from it, but at least not at this point. So if you feel like paying me, just subscribe, literally, and then you're also just joining this nerdy horror community that I'm trying to build. But Regardless, I really do thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and until next time, keep it brutal.